Okay. And our next little effort, you want documentation that allows you to think and postulate. Okay. You want to think about some of these things and how they impact the property with other people. Some other people might be your realtor. If you're planning on reselling this house, you're definitely want to have some of these pictures so you can say, well, do you think that's a good feature? Do you think that's ugly? Do we need to change that? Are these things important for the resale? That kind of stuff. These pictures go a long way in just helping you when you're sitting down across the table from somebody who may not have time to go to the property. It may be your contractor. You may say, hey, I want to change this kitchen. And they go, well, what do you want to change about it? Well, then if you got a picture, you can point to it and say, this is what's got to come out. These kind of things have to go away. You got to document all that stuff in pictures if you can. You want to think in terms of others that you know in this business. If you say, you know, I don't know if this kitchen's really good enough for rental property. Or is it, you know, do I need to do something to the kitchen? Well, in that case, then you're going to go to somebody else in the club probably and say, hey, this is what this kitchen looks like, and I'm thinking about trying to rent this thing. Do you think this kitchen is going to be good enough? See what I'm saying? These pictures are very important to you as you begin moving through this process that we're talking about. Also, you document and outline the current deficiencies. At the bottom, you will see that down here I said, convert from a duplex. It's got 2 kitchens. It needs a master suite on the main floor. There's no, what is that? No central air. A tree in front yard, and there's an old garage. Those were some notes that I made while I was in the field to remind me of things that I needed to check, okay? This house was actually a duplex. It had a kitchen here and a kitchen here, okay? And then it had, the main entry to this side was through a door right there into a hall that was here, and so you had this kitchen, this bath, like that. And then this side had access to the upstairs, which also had a bath. So it was a duplex. And so do you perceive that this is a bad floor plan?
Yeah.
Okay? It's a bad floor plan. It made sense to somebody, right? But it's a bad floor plan. Particularly as the market around this house changes, it quits wanting to be a rental property and starts wanting to be a sale property at some point. Now, when that occurs is a whole different question. It may be that you want to leave it as a rental property. And your process may say, well, I want it as a rental property, but I don't want it as a duplex. Okay? And you get into a whole other list of questions right there. Is it zoned multifamily? Is its usage duplex? If you start changing that stuff, then you have to start making some different decisions. For instance, this house was in fact zoned RM. Everybody remember the zoning talk? What does RM mean?
Multifamily.
Residential, multifamily, right? And its usage, which is different than how it's zoned, its usage was duplex. Let's think about that for a minute. If it's a duplex, what are we likely to find electrically? 2 meters. Right? Anybody here live in a house that's not a duplex that has 2 meters? No. So if your concept is, I'm going to make this a single-family rental property, or you think your tenant's going to be happy having 2 electric bills? No. What does that mean? It means that you've got to pull 1 meter out, right? Guess what? If it's a duplex, let's talk about its property taxes. Higher or lower than single family?
Higher, 15%.
Are you interested in becoming a single family if you're going to rent it as a single family property?
Yes.
Yes. Guess what you're going to have to do? Get the usage changed through the government. How are you going to do that? You're going to have to take out an electrical system. Do you see what's happening? So the dominoes start falling is the point. And you have to kind of think things kind of all the way through with where you're going with this. because that can impact decisions you make. Now, you may say, well, I kind of like the idea of leaving it as a duplex, but I'm going to change the concept. I'm going to make it a little one-bedroom efficiency and begin converting most of the house back into a larger duplex. So it's one side's going to have 1,200 square feet and the other side's going to have 600. You still leave it as a duplex, and you've begun making some changes toward the single-family concept, but you're not making them all right now. Does that make sense? It's a process, and that's one of the things I hope I can get you to understand tonight in terms of floor planning and designing. You need to think about where you're going with this thing. We're going to talk more about that in a few minutes. But anyway, I get sidetracked easily. I'm old and nothing. But you want to outline some of the problems that you think the house has got. Now, they may not be problems. They may be things that you want to fit, want to use. But you want to be thinking about, well, what do I need to do? Initially, when I saw this house, I said, this is a great house. I can make a lot of money on this if I make it a single family and bring back the Tudor and put in new windows and da-da-da, and I can sell it for this much. And once you get into it, you may find out that may not be true. And you may already have it under contract. Plan 2. I hadn't got a plan 2? Uh-oh. Guess what happens when you don't have a plan 2? You spend money. Ask me how I know. I can show you a property over on Ashwood where Greg and Jenny spent a lot of money and wasted it. A lot of money. Emphasis on a lot of money. And wasted it. Don't do that. Make your own mistakes. I made that one for you. Okay? You don't have to do that. Don't make that mistake. So, begin thinking about outlining what you think the problems are going to be. The next thing is you want to contextualize the property in its market. That's rather college sounding, don't you think? Contextualize it in its market. Here's part of what that means. You want to begin thinking about some of these websites and how you can get information from them. This is a really good website. If you don't have it already, write it down. It's kind of an obscure one. It's kind of hard to get there. This is, in fact, the county property tax website. And when you go there, it has a little brief description of the property. In the lower right-hand corner, it has a picture. The lower left-hand corner, it has the footprint with the dimensions on it. It's pretty cool, and I use it regularly. Because what I do is I pull up that footprint, and then I draw the footprint in my CAD program, and then I use my room dimensions that I took in the field and begin laying it out inside that footprint. And I kind of see if everything coordinates. And if I find a bust, I can usually figure out it's my bust. But anyway, you can use this information in a number of ways. That Google Maps aerial I talked about, Google Maps, Google Maps.com real estate. I'll show you an example of that in just a second. Then there's Bing Maps, bird's eye view that we talked about, Bing.com, go to Maps there. And then there's Rentometer, which is kind of a cool little website. If you go there, you can, if you've got a property and you have an address, you can punch in the address and say what you're planning on renting it for, and it'll pull up the rents around it and tell you whether or not the rent you're thinking is median or low or high and that kind of stuff. So it gives you a reference point. You should do the same thing with a number of sources. You should do it with Craigslist. You should go to Craigslist and pull up streets and things around the property that you're looking at to find out where the rents are. But you begin using this information, you start gathering information in your discovery process.